I've been working with the DevTools team to document DevTools for the past like 7 months now or so. And these features just recently, or just yesterday actually, just went live on the DevTools doc. So you can learn about them more there. I have links to each of the features on my slides too, which I'll put online after. So mobile development with DevTools, as you all know, I'm guessing mobile internet usage is increasing, and it's people more and more are using the internet on their phones and on other devices. So we need to develop more for mobile, but that's a pain. So there needs to be a better way to do that, and so DevTools has come up with a really cool set of features that I'm going to be covering: remote debugging, screencasting, step forwarding, and emulation. And then you can work with these in your workflow. And just so you know, I put all these slides together using DevTools only. Like I didn't use any editor or anything like that. So it's a pretty powerful tool now that you can do everything with it. So remote debugging. You can now remote debug just by plugging your phone or your whatever device into your computer, and you don't need a ADB binary, you don't need any extensions. You have all the same powerful features that you have like as desktop, and you can screencast your device to your desktop, so you can view your device's screen in DevTools, and you can forward the ports so you can develop for localhost on your device. So when you plug in your device, you go to inspect devices, which let me just show. Inspect devices and tools in the menu, and that brings up this page. And if I plug in my device, I got a tablet here. Okay, so to get this to work, you need to have on your device the latest version of Chrome, so it's Chrome beta. Let me refresh this. So there we go. So you just need to accept the authentication between the device and then you're good to go. So you have all these. I don't know if you can see that. You have these details for the browser, the device, and everything, and you can inspect, focus the tab. You can open up a new tab by typing in here, and that opens it up on your device. If you guys were in the room, then you could see that on my device, it's actually opening it up. And if I go back to focus this tab, now I can inspect this tab. So if I open up inspect, I'm now inspecting the page on my device. And so going back to this. So now you can pay attention to one screen. You don't have to switch back and forth from the device, checking new changes and everything. You can do everything all in one place on your DevTools. And that's using the screencasting feature, which if I switch back to this, and then inspect this page, and I click the icon up in the corner here, it will show the page on my device on the actual DevTools. So I can now work right in here and do everything I would normally do. I can use the inspect tool and drill down. I can even use swipe. So swipe and I hold option. I can option and scroll zooms, and so yeah, this is a very powerful feature that you can now use right in DevTools, and you have full control of the URL. So if I wanted to type in here, I can just do this, and it changes it on my device, and I have full control of the back forward buttons, and I have all the tools in DevTools available to me right next to it. So that's, I think, one of the coolest features I've seen come out of DevTools. So going back to this, port forwarding, you can now forward your ports. So if you see the 8000 and 8086, the little green lights, you can, that's basically telling you that it's on and ready to forward your ports. So going back to this, let me forward localhost. See if I have it set up. Yep. Okay, so if I go to this and actually, localhost. So now I have this opened up on my device, and it's, as you can see on the device, it's actually loading. And so this is my local host. I can develop this page right here, and it's, you know, normally you can't do that because the device is localhost. So you need to like set this up to be able to develop it. And so now mobile emulation. This is a feature that has been in DevTools for a little bit, but it's been updated a lot, so you can do a lot more with it. It's a lot more accurate, and some things you can do is you can control the user agent, the screen resolution, device pixel ratio, emulate the viewport, text auto sizing, and Android font matrix. All these things are now available in the emulation. So if I open this up, and I press escape, and I go to emulation tab here, I now have all these things down here that I can do. And so Wikipedia serves different things to different devices. So I can choose from all these devices what I want to emulate, and I click emulate, do a refresh, and now I have, you know, the emulation of Nexus 4. I have swipe. If I hold shift down, I can zoom, and you know, everything works just like you would expect it to. It's pretty sweet. And you have you can control the screen resolution. You can change the orientation. There's a lot of good stuff in here, basically. So yeah, definitely check that out. Yeah, you have presets, touch simulation. There's, I'll go back to this. This device pixel ratio, you can now emulate between a Retina device and non-Retina. You can artificially increase the font metrics used by the text auto sizing. So yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff you can do with the emulation. It's getting a lot more accurate too. So, but I mean, of course, you'll always need to have a device. So bringing this into Workspaces. Workspaces are a pretty cool feature. I am a fan of it. That's what I used basically to develop this whole thing in DevTools. So if I go to sources, you can add a folder to a workspace, or if you open up the settings, you can go to create a new folder. It'll just ask you to allow permission to it, and it adds like a whole directory. If you have a project folder or whatever you want to add, you can add that, and it will show up in sources. So now you can work right in the sources panel, and you can develop your code right there, and everything will be persisted to disk, and you can create new files. You can duplicate files, delete files, exclude folders. You can map to a network resource, or revert to to the previous local modifications. Let's see what else.
So it's not easy.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, and so yeah, I mean, it's basically like a full editor that you can work right next to the page. You know, you don't have to switch back and forth from your editor to the browser and everything. And if you have live reload set up, which I use as much as I can, you can just edit in the sources panel, and when you save, you just press Control S or Command S, and it will save, and then the page will refresh because you have live reload, and it's a really good workflow. I'm a fan of it.
How's the editing?
It's really good actually. It's got a lot of the same shortcuts like keystrokes or whatever. You can do like Option Delete to delete words and Command Delete, I believe, to delete full lines. Like you can undo and redo everything like you want, like normal. You know, copy paste everything normal like that. And it's got syntax highlighting for just about every type of file that I've seen except for Markdown. That was one thing that I had to create a ticket for. So yeah, I mean, it's not the thing that you would necessarily want to replace fully yet. I mean, it's still being worked on, but it's pretty impressive how much they've gotten working the way that you would want. I'm really surprised that they really did. And so yeah, on your devices, you would need to grab the latest version of Chrome, which is Chrome Beta, and that's version 32. If you see on here, I have 32, and I had 31, but I don't think it's open right now. 31 will work, but you need to enable an experimental setting, so it's not as good. It doesn't work like as you plug in the device. So I recommend getting 32, and you would need to get the latest version of Canary for desktop. Canary's got all the latest, greatest, best features. And yeah, I use it as my main default browser. Yeah. Everything that isn't Canary goes into Chrome Stable in about 6 to 10 weeks. And also check out the documentation for DevTools. It's devtools.chrome.com. This is what I helped work on updating just yesterday. The debugging screencasting docs. I contributed this to the docs, and mobile emulation went live yesterday, and a bunch of other stuff. So that, yeah, and there's shortcuts, the settings, like everything's really documented. It's like I think this is the most documented tool I've ever seen. So yeah, that's it.
Cool.
Any questions from you guys or anybody?
Yeah, I saw not directly related to the Chrome DevTools, but I did see that you're using Yeoman. I was wondering if you're using that for consulting and what you thought of it, and maybe
I
you
love
could
it.
just
Yeah,
briefly explain what it is for people who don't know what it is.
yeah. So Yeoman is is like a scaffolding tool that you can quickly build out a project, and it basically creates like the structure of the folders and files and everything, and it makes like some generators will generate some default content and stuff too, just so you can get started. That's sort of what this is. This is like an Angular project that I generated using the Angular generator. It just created the files for this stuff really quickly for me, and it includes like grunt with live reload and all the good stuff that you would want to have really. So the workflow for it is really nice, and I can get coding like immediately without any effort really. And so yeah, I've used it on one project for consulting, and I I thought it was great. It was really I was actually going to show that project today instead, but this stuff was cooler. So yeah, I used it for an Angular project that I worked on in consulting, and the workflow for it was really nice. I use it on my personal projects all the time, every time I make a new project.
Hey, Jared, we finished early. Do you mind just going back to the beginning and showing how you set this up again? How you set the emulation up?
Oh, so okay.
Just joined us late.
Emulation, you go to any page or whatever, and you can open up DevTools. So you just press like Command Option I to open DevTools, it'll look like this. And then you press Escape, Emulation tab, and then you have your options here.
And how have you found it works with a video?
I haven't yet tested it too much with video, but I've played video games like 3D WebGL games, and they work just as good. So I'd imagine that video would work well too.
Hey, Jared.
Yeah.
The Workspace feature, I think, is really cool. I've tried to set it up though once, and I could never get the darn thing to like correctly map the way that I thought it was going to work. Could you like just walk through,
Sure.
pop in a directory in there?
So if I add a folder to Workspace, I forget if this. So if I want to add my demo app, actually I already have that in there. So let's see, I'll just add this. And well, there, you can just right click on here and then add a folder. Does that make sense?
Okay, so if you had a, like for instance, you're serving your project off of localhost and you have added the file map.
You mean mapping files to a URL? Yeah,
that sort of thing. That was the tricky part.
Yeah, that's to be honest, I haven't really figured that out. I've tried it a couple times, but let me see if I have. I don't have anything set up right now like that I could test that with. But if I wanted to map this file to a resource, I've been able to get it to work so that all you have to do is just type in a URL. Like if I had the URL to the index file for this particular thing, if it was online, I don't have it online though. I could just type in the URL to it. I believe that would work.
Okay.
So then the device emulation or the device itself would see this in place of that URL.
Yeah. I mean, you would see it. You would see what is at that URL on the page. So you could like work. It's basically like a remote mapping. Anything else? Okay.
All right. Well, thanks a lot.
If you guys have any questions, if you guys have any additional questions, you can find me upstairs in consulting.
All right. Great. Thanks a lot.
Thanks.